Hello, Greg, Herbert again. I have a few things on my mind. I was having lunch with a buddy of mine that belonged to an anime club, and his fiancée also from our anime club. He brought up who was the better detective, Batman or Lawliet from Death Note. I quickly shut him down and said Batman hands down, while his fiancée, a bit of a sucker for Death Note, defended Lawliet, even though Batman is both a better detective and better martial artist than L could ever be. And that's on principle alone. That's not counting the fact that I absolutely hate Death Note and think that Lawliet is one of the worst anime characters ever. A cross between a creepy old man and a overgrown shotacon with an cringeworthy lust for unhealthy food. Batman is better on every level, not to mention a better series. One of the greatest of all time. In fact, the 1992 version was so good, it should be required viewing for every one of these new young hotshot wannabe Japanese anime producers on how to make a good animated series. And the majority of you can agree with me on that. And now on to my main subject. A long-time pet peeve of yours truly. Furries. To those of you that don't know about furries, they are the weirdos that dress up in animal costumes and have you saying, "What the fuck is this shit?" I mean, seriously, what the fuck is this shit? The furry fandom is a subculture interested in fictional anthropomorphic animal characters with human personalities and characteristics. Examples of anthropomorphic attributes include exhibiting human intelligence and facial expressions, the ability to speak, walk on two legs, and wear clothes. Furry fandom is also used to refer to the community of people who gather on the internet and at conventions. According to fandom historian Fred Patton, the concept of furry originated at a science fiction convention in 1980, when a character drawing from Steve Kalach's Albedo Anthropomorphic started a discussion of anthropomorphic characters in science fiction novels. This led to the formation of a discussion group that met at science fiction and comics conventions. The specific term furry fandom was being used in fanzines as early as 1983, and had become the standard name for the genre by the mid-1990s, when it was defined as the organized appreciation and dissemination of art and prose regarding furries, or fictional mammalian anthropomorphic characters. However, fans consider the origins of furry fandom to be much earlier, with fictional works such as Kimber, the White Lion released in 1965, Rick Hard Adams' novel Watership Down, published in 1972, and its 1978 film adaptation, as well as Disney's Robin Hood as oft-cited examples. To distinguish these personae from seriously depicted animal characters, such as Lassie or Old Yellers, cartoon animals are referred to as funny animals, a term that came into use in the 1910s. During the 1980s, furry fans began to publish fanzines, developing a diverse social group that eventually began to schedule social gatherings. By 1987, there was sufficient interest to stage the first furry convention. Throughout the next decade, the internet became accessible to the general population and became the most popular means for furry fans to socialize. The news group alt.fan.furry was created in November 1990, and virtual environments such as Mux also became popular places on the internet for fans to meet and communicate. The furry fandom is male-dominated, with surveys reporting around 80% male respondents. In Japan, the fandom and artwork is known as kimono, from the Japanese for beast, but always written in katakana. The phrases furry lifestyle and furry lifestyle first appeared in July 1996 on the news group altfan.furry during an ongoing dispute within that online community. The Usenet news group altlifestyle.furry was created to accommodate discussion beyond furry art and literature, and to resolve disputes concerning what should or should not be associated with the fandom. Its members quickly adopted the term furry lifestylers, and still consider the fandom and the lifestyle to be separate social entities. They have defined and adopted an alternative meaning of the word furry specific to this group: a person with an important emotional/spiritual connection with an animal or animals. Real, fictional, or symbolic fans with craft skills create their own plush toys, sometimes referred to as plushies, and also build elaborate costumes called fursuits, which are worn for fun, or to participate in parades, convention masquerades, dances, or fundraising charity events. As entertainers, fursuits range from designs featuring simple construction and resembling sports mascots to those with more sophisticated features that include moving jaw mechanisms, animatronic parts, prosthetic makeup, and other features. Fursuits range in price from $500 for mascot-like designs to an upwards of $10,000 for models incorporating animatronics. While about 80% of furries do not own a full fursuit, often citing their expensive cost as the decisive factor, a majority of them hold positive feelings towards fursuiters and the conventions in which they participate. Some fans may also wear partial suits consisting simply of ears and a tail, or a head, paws, and a tail. Sufficient interest and membership has enabled the creation of many furry conventions in North America and Europe. A furry convention is for the fans get together to buy and sell artwork, participate in workshops, wear costumes, and socialize. The world's largest furry convention, Anthrocon, with more than 4,000 participants, held annually in Pittsburgh in June, was estimated to have generated approximately $3 million to Pittsburgh's economy in 2008. Another convention, Further Confusion, held in San Jose each January, closely follows Anthrocon in scale and attendance. $470,000 was raised in conventions for charity from 2000 to 2009. The first known furry convention, Confurence, is no longer held. Califa has replaced it, as both conventions were based in Southern California. A University of California Davis survey suggested that about 40% of furries had attended at least one furry convention. The Internet contains a multitude of furry websites and online communities, such as at community websites Fur Affinity, Inkmoney, So Furry and Weasel, social networking sites Fur4Life and Furnation, and WikiFur, a collaborative furry wiki. These, with the ERC networks Furnet and AnthroChat, form a key part of furry fandom. Newsgroups like AltFan.Furry, popular from the mid-1990s to 2005, have been replaced by topic-specific forums, mailing lists, and live journal communities. There are several webcomics featuring animal characters created by or for furry fans. As such, they may be referred to as furry comics. One such comic, The Fox, was first published on Compu 7 1986, predating the World Wide Web by several years. According to 4 different surveys, 14 to 25% of the fandom members report homosexuality, 37 to 52% bisexuality, 28 to 51% heterosexuality, and 3 to 8% other forms of alternative sexual relationships. The furry fans that reported being in a relationship, approximately half of the surveyed population, were in a relationship with another member of furry fandom. Examples of sexual aspects within furry fandom include erotic art and furry-themed cybersex. The term YIF is most commonly used to indicate sexual activity or sexual material within the fandom. The word is derived from the apparent sound of a fox's barking. This YIF applies to sexual activity and interaction within the subculture, whether in the form of cybersex or offline/sexual attraction to furry characters, is a polarized issue within the fandom. In one survey with 4,300 furry respondents, 37% answered that sexual attraction is important in their furry activities, 38% were ambivalent, and 24% answered that it has little or nothing to do with their furry activities. In a different online survey, 33% of furry respondents answered that they have a significant sexual interest in furry. Another 46% stated they have a minor sexual interest in furry, and the remaining 21% stated they have a non-sexual interest in furry. The survey specifically avoided adult-oriented websites to prevent bias. A portion of the fandom is sexually interested in zoophilia or in fursuiting, although a majority take a negative stance towards the former. In a survey conducted by David J. Rust in 1997 to 1998, about 2% of furry respondents stated an interest in zoophilia, and less than 1% an interest in plushophilia, that is, having sex with plush toys. Though the survey's accompanying study doesn't comment on these results, and in another survey in 2008 attempting to replicate the results, 17% of respondents reported zoophilia. The survey's accompanying study suggested that the lower results were due to respondents being susceptible to social desirability bias. In other words, furries in the furry universe are nothing more than the products of now-grown children, sexually obsessed, that are raised on a diet of cartoons that depict animals with love interests like the Lion King. Despite the opinion that it's the internet that creates furries, furries existed and still exist even without the internet. Through movies, cartoons, Halloween costumes, toys, games, and other things that parents innocently expose their children to. Children develop an interest in fur, in addition to other weird shit. Although furries tend to develop before being exposed to the internet. Once they are exposed to the internet, they realize there are others like them. Thinking that having other people into the same crap you are makes you normal all of a sudden. They start encouraging each other instead of realizing they are mentally challenged and getting help. This leads to your fapping. Additionally, furries can also transmit the infectious disease of their obsession to others. Generally, this is a conscious and deliberate act on their part. Most furries are friends with many non-furries in the general population, and for some reason they must share their sick fetishes with everyone. So they lure their friends to see the awesome art site, or to go to a sci-fi con. The worst part is that they just plain don't stop doing it. They will keep shoving their furry art in every non-furry's face, wearing ears and tails in public, and otherwise screaming about how nice it is to be a furry, in order to attempt to convert others to their sick fetish. Furries will also try to subliminally convert others by creating anthro-webcomics. Comics such as house pets, usually suck shit, are unfunny and uninteresting. Every furry webcomic is perverted, and should be avoided, or else possible conversion may take place. Most, if not all, authors of these webcomics are Marissa than not morbidly obese and mentally unstable. Think about it. If furry life is so nice and accepting, why are they trying to convert you? Wouldn't they already be happy among their numerous furry friends that they surely must have, if the fandom is a loving, accepting, fun place? Why would they require assurance from real-life people that what they're doing is okay if they know being a furry is perfectly fine? It's all lies, and only the most desperate and gullible people fall for it. This, of course, leads to even more sad wastes of flesh clamoring for attention and fighting online and trying to convert as many people offline in the hopes that anyone will actually love and accept them. That will never work. Those of us that are in the normal majority, that know that this stuff is not normal, will keep exposing and shedding light on the furry community, exposed, calling them for what they are, whether they believe in the sexual aspects of their brethren or not. It doesn't matter. Furries are a danger to society, and have exerted a unhealthy behavior that should be exposed, called out, made public, and the widely put to shame. Furries should be shamed and embarrassed about thistles, most of them grown men and women with no lives, living through their persona to justify their looniness, by covering their eccentricity and creativity and hiding their looniness, by banding together with other loony bin fursuiters. This further explains the sad condition of humanity in this day and age, because things like this are being allowed to proliferate through opening the door for those interested in other, and more overtly sexual things like pedophilia, bestiality, and zoophilia. Today, in a society that says now, if it feels good, do it, you can do it. Wrong. You cannot do your own thing and be respected. And furries are no exception. You furries, you think you are just a nice little community of animal costume players, but I know what you really are, a bunch of peppeted fools, freaks, and weirdos that have no life. Many are wasting the prime of your life to be in a wolf suit to get your fap on. You furry are pathetic and a sorry excuse of a human being. If God wanted you to be an animal, you would be one. You furries are a disgrace to humanity, a disgrace to the animal kingdom, and a perverted waste of space to this earth, because you are the worst kind of being in the earth, incompetent to the nth degree and worthless. No one that is of adult age is to be caught wearing a fursuit and say that is a part of that I am. That is ludicrous, and you know it. Furries, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You should take a look at yourselves and say why, and that is a logical question, because the majority of us that look at your fur-faggotry have every right to ask, and deserve to ask, what the fuck is this shit? Seriously, the point is that it's wrong to be a furry. It's not an alternative lifestyle, it's a state of utter disgrace. Grow up, furries. Take that fursuit off. Leave the fandom, and get a normal real life, while you still can.